Hey everybody! Today we're taking a look at another game in my collection. Today I'm going to review for you this game here, World of Warcraft, the adventure board game. This game came out in 2008 by Fantasy Flight Games. It is obviously based on the very popular video game World of Warcraft, but I've never played in my life, okay? I want to clarify that from the start. I have never played the video game of World of Warcraft, and I don't know anything about it. But now I do know quite a bit about this game here. In this video I'm going to tell you how to play this board game, and I'm also going to tell you what I think about this game, if I like it or if I do not, and I don't. Okay, so alright, so master your courage and sharpen your swords, because we're about to enter the World of Warcraft. So this is World of Warcraft, the adventure board game in all its constituents. There's nothing left in the box because I have set up the game here for 4 players. And take a look here around the table. There's a lot of stuff here, you see. This game is big, it takes up a lot of space on your table. You need a big table to play this game. Right there in the center of the table you're going to place this big board that is huge. Let me zoom in a little closer so you can see it better. That is the land of Azeroth, which is the same land that you can explore also in the video game of World of Warcraft. This board looks like the map of the London underground, doesn't it? It does. I remember when I was in London once, and I remember it was a nightmare to get around the city using the London Tube. This board is similar. It looks a bit messy, a bit confusing. There are too many colors, and basically what you need to know is that you see there are 4 colors in this game, and if you take a look here, you see there are areas of different colors. The 4 colors that we got in this game are grey, green, yellow and red, and they represent 4 different levels in this game. At the beginning of the game, players will be able to explore only the grey areas, because that is the starting level. Then, as they level up, they will unlock new areas on the board, and from grey they will move to the green areas, then the yellow, and finally the red areas. Red is the final color, is the final level in the game. When they get to red, then the players will be able to explore the entirety of this board. Then down here we got the rest of the components, you see. We've got our 4 heroes. Here on my left we've got the female wizard, this is Sandrai. Here we got Sophia, and then the dwarf, Bourbon. And over here we've got the badass ogre with the axe, that is Grumba's Crouseblood. So at the beginning of the game you're going to choose one of these 4 heroes, and then you're going to play as that hero for the rest of the game. Let's focus here on these 2 heroes down here. So all the players are going to get the same set of components. Let's say that we want to play as Bourbon Fang. This is the components that we get at the beginning of the game. We get a deck of cards. Here we got 26 ability cards, and you see the illustration here that matches the illustration of our hero. This is Bourbon. This is the hero card. The hero card comes in 4 different colors, matching the 4 different levels. And this hero card recaps the stats of our hero. The grey hero card is the first card that you're going to play with. And here we've got all the initial stats for our hero, like our initial health, the initial power, the defense, and how much damage our hero can inflict in an attack. Here we also have a special ability that we can use during the game, and here we've got the illustration for our hero. Then we have 9 hero tokens, again with illustration of our hero right there on the top. Then we got a bag token for our loot, Here we're going to place all the objects, all the magical artifacts and equipments that we're going to acquire during our campaign. And here instead, this journal token is for our missions. You see here we start the game with 2 missions. These 2 cards are going to be drawn from this small deck. At the beginning of the game, you're going to shuffle this deck and you're going to deal 2 cards at random to each player. And these cards are the initial missions. You're going to try and complete these missions. And whenever you complete a mission, you're going to place it here in your journal to signify that this mission is now over. When you do that, you're going to score the points that are indicated right there on the mission card. Like this card here, for example, is worth 2 points. Whenever you complete a mission, then you're gonna have to reveal a new mission card, but this time from this deck. You see, you got a different color on the back. These cards here include missions that are a bit more advanced than these ones here, are a bit more difficult, a bit more complicated, but they generally also give you a few more points, like this mission here that is worth 3 points and not just 2. Remember that you always need to have at least 2 mission cards here in your play area. Okay? Alright, so if you take a close look here at these figurines, you see that I decided to paint my figurines because these do not come pre-painted. Now I'm going to place here some close-ups on screen so that you can take a closer look at the results of my painting. I'm not too proud of the results, and I think these figurines now look as ugly as hell. But you know, I decided to try out something new. This was the first time that I tried my hand at painting the miniatures. And you know, I can't be too hard on myself. Anyway, at the beginning of the game, you're going to place your figurines for your heroes here on one of these 3 locations on the board. You see these big circles? You got 3 cities on the board. This is Stormwind City. Right there in the center, we got Ironforge City, and up here, the Undercity. You're going to choose one of these 3 spots, one of these 3 cities, and then you're going to place your hero right there. I decided to place the hero figurines as you see them right now on the board, but I could have placed these 2 figurines right there in the center, and that would have been the same. It would have been just fine, okay? Alright, now we have covered pretty much everything for setup. Let's now have a quick gameplay demonstration in which I'm going to show you how you play this game. Now for the gameplay demonstration, we're going to follow this other hero. This is Sunrise Darkshine. Here we've got our hero card with our stats. You see, we got 3 life, 1 power, 4 defense, 1 damage. Pretty much all the characters, all the heroes are pretty much the same at the beginning. They've got the same stats and pretty much like the same power and toughness, the same power and defense pretty much. Now, at the very beginning of your turn, the first thing you're going to do is roll this die. You're going to roll this blue die here. This die is going to tell you how far you can move on the board and how much energy you can spend during your turn. Here, for example, we got 3 points of movement and we just have 1 point of energy. Energy is used to cast the spells that you got here in your hand, cards that you draw from the ability deck. You see here we've got, we start the game with 3 ability cards in the hand, that is the starting hand for all the players. And you see that these cards have a symbol up here, like this card, for example, costs nothing. You see there's no symbol up here in the corner, so you can play this card for free. This card instead costs 1 point of energy, this card costs 2 points of energy, okay? So here with just 1 point of energy we could use these 2 spells. We could cast this card for free and then we could use this other spell for 1 point of energy. These cards are pretty useful and pretty powerful. They give you special abilities and they also give you bonuses during combat. So remember to play these spells here, okay? Then at this point we got 3 points of movement. We could just do a single movement and end our movement there. For example, whenever you end your movement, you're going to activate the resources that you find on the board. For example, here we've got this resource over there, that is the scroll. The scroll allows you to draw one extra ability card from the top of your deck. If you instead we decided to do one single movement in this direction, here we have a quest log token. With the quest log token, you can draw 2 ability cards from the top of your deck, okay? And that is a little bit better than just one. And then if instead we spent 2 points of movement and ended our movement there, you see that we got that symbol, the arrow, which is the same symbol that we got on these tokens. When you end your movement there and you're going to use this resource, you're going to take a look here at one of these discovery tokens. You're going to choose one token at random. You're going to take a look at it, and then you're going to decide where to place this token. The green ones generally have positive effects to the players, to the heroes, so you may want to place this token here next to your hero. The red ones instead, like this one, for example, see these 2 tokens here that are red, they have negative effects for the players, so you may want to place these tokens next to the other heroes. And that's going to be a nasty surprise for the other hero. Because you see, whenever you pass through these tokens here, if you end your movement here, for example, where we've got a discovery token, then here you cannot use the resource that is printed on the board, but you must reveal the token and you must use the resource that is that you find there on the discovery token. And again, the green ones generally have positive effects and they represent bonuses, positive bonuses for the players. Now, if we decided to spend our 3 points of movement and do this type of movement here, come over here from the city to the village of Brielle, you see 1, 2, 3. Here you got 2 symbols here on this village. Remember that you can use only 1 resource, okay? So you cannot use these 2 symbols, these 2 icons, you can use just 1. You got the scroll or the small potion. The small potion allows you to remove 1 damage from your hero. During the course of the game, you're going to collect damage tokens. And let's say now that our hero has got 2 damage right there. By using the red potion, the small red potion, you can remove 1 damage token from your hero. If you end your movement in a city here, you got a wider range of resources that you can choose from. You got the big potion right there. With the big potion, you can remove 2 damage tokens from your hero so that you can heal your hero completely. Then you got the exclamation mark. With the exclamation mark, you can draw a new mission card and you can replace a mission that you have before that you didn't want to resolve, that you didn't want to complete. Then there's the crate. The crate allows you to claim an object from one of those 4 decks over there. And then you get the boot. With the boot, you can teleport your hero from this location to any other locations on the board where you got the same symbol, where you got the same boot. So you could move your hero here from this city to this other city over there in the center of the board, because you see here we got the same symbol, the same boot symbol there. Or you could do this movement here, for example, from here, from the city to this green area, to this green location, because again, here we got the same symbol. Remember that you can't do this at the beginning of the game because you cannot move from gray to green unless you have been able to unlock this new level, this new area. You do that by going over there to that encounter. So here we could do like 1, 2 and our movement there. Then here is going to be a fight against the monster that you find there on the board. Here you got all the attributes, attack, defense and damage. And you see that little arrow there that is of a green color. If you defeat that monster, then from that moment on, you are going to be able to come down here and explore the green area. Then if you come over here and you have this other fight, then here you see if you defeat this monster, you see the arrow that is yellow, then by defeating this monster you unlock the yellow level, and then you'll be able to move and explore the yellow areas on the board. Alright, so now let's have a quick example of a combat phase. So if you decide to end your movement anywhere on the board except that on a city and on this type of encounter, let's say that we ended our movement here, then at this point we're going to have to draw a card from the bottom of the gray deck, because this is the gray zone. Okay, so we're going to draw a card from the bottom of the deck so that we do not know what kind of card, what kind of encounter we're going to have this turn. And this card is an event. You see there's only text on this card on both sides. So if the card that you have drawn is an event, you're just going to read the effect, you're going to resolve the effect, and then you're going to draw another card. You need to draw at least a monster card. And here we got our first encounter, our first monster. This is the Knuckle-Rot, you see? It's an undead, it's an aggressive monster. These are the attributes. Here we got attack, defense, and damage. Now there's going to be a fight between the Knuckle-Rot and our hero. Sandrai and the Knuckle-Rot are going to have a fight. There you go. Okay, so now let's cover combat real quick and real easy. Don't want this video to be too long, but it seems that it's going to be. So now, what you're going to do is you're going to roll a die, the red die for the hero, and another player is going to roll the black die for the monster. So let's say that these are the results. Sandrai got a 2 and the monster got a 4. Now, you see that there are different symbols here. The Knuckle-Rot has got 2 swords there, whereas Sandrai has got a bow and with an arrow there. That means that the monster is attacking in close combat, whereas Sandra is attacking at range. So Sandra is going to attack first, okay? She's going to perform her attack. That is 2 plus 1, that is 3, and that unfortunately is not enough to break the monster's defense. So this attack is too weak, it's not successful. Then it's gonna be the turn of the monster. The monster is going to attack at melee. 4 plus 1, that is 5, that is enough to get past our defense of 4. So we're going to get a damage here from the Knuckle-Rot, and this is the end of combat. Very simple, very easy. If there are any special effects, remember that you need to resolve the effects of the monsters first, and then the effects on your hero card, if you want to use these effects, these abilities here. The ability that is listed there on the card. Okay, so that is very simple, very, very easy. You do not keep fighting until the monster or the hero is dead. You just perform one single attack. Then, in this case, for example, the monster has not been defeated, so you're gonna have to place this monster over there on the track of the undefeated monsters. You're going to place it on the first available spot. You're going to place it over there, and you're going to place the marker here. On the board where you had this encounter. Now, since that monster is aggressive, that was an aggressive monster, you're gonna have to flip over this token here to this red side, and when you find here a red encounter, a red token, remember that all the players passing through this area, they will be forced to stay here and spend a turn fighting this monster. And unfortunately, Sandra will not be able to move away from this fight the next turn. She will be forced to stay here and combat against this monster once again until the monster is defeated. Unfortunately, that is the aggressive ability of the monster. Aggressive monsters are particularly heinous, particularly nasty and mean, and you need to get rid of them in order to move on with the game. If the monster is defeated, then the monster, you see, is going to turn. This is the card, the monster card. This is our friend, the Knuckle-Rot. When the monster is defeated, the monster card is going to be flipped over, and you're going to get the object that you find on the back of the card. That is going to be your reward. This is an armor, for example, and you can go ahead and place it in your bag. What happened to the bag token here? You can place it in your bag here, and this is now part of your loot. Whenever you want, you can decide to move items from your bag and equip them to your hero. Like, you can have one weapon, one armor equipped to your hero. This generally gives your hero more other abilities, other special abilities, and these cards also can improve the stats of your hero. You can do that at the end of your turn. You can simply move objects here from the bag and equip them to your hero. But remember that you can only have one weapon and one armor equipped to your hero, okay? You cannot have 2 armors, for example. But you can store here in your bag as many objects as you want, and you may swap here between the objects when you like, okay? If there are objects that are more powerful that you find during your campaign, then you can use the new objects and replace the objects that you already have equipped there to your hero card. Then there's also the possibility here, you see I have placed Grumbas and Bourbon on the same spot here on this village. There's also the possibility for 2 heroes to attack each other. If they end their movement on the same place on the board, then they can perform one single attack at each other. And the attack phase is going to be just like I showed you before between a monster and a hero. Bourbon and Grumbas are going to attack each other. They're going to perform just one single attack. They're not going to fight until death, okay? There's just going to be one single attack. If by any chance one of the two heroes ends up dead, then the other hero that remains standing, that hero is going to be able to get one object from the other player's loot. So he'll be able to claim one of these objects here as his reward, okay? So let's say that, for example, Sandra got defeated by the attack of another hero. Now the other hero will be able to claim this object as his reward, and the object will be removed from Sandra's bag. And this is pretty much everything for this game. You see, there's a lot. I try to be as quick and concise as possible, but there's a lot to talk about. How does the game end, and how do you win this game? Now, that's pretty simple. All you have to do is complete enough missions here to get up to 8 points. This game is essentially a race. All the players are going to try and complete as many of these missions as they can before the other players, so that they get up to 8 points before the other players. If you get to 8 points before the others, then you're going to be the winner of the game. That's essentially all you're going to do in this game. You're going to take your hero here on a beautiful journey around this board across the land of Azeroth. You're going to complete several missions and challenges. You're going to defeat monsters in order to get up to 8 points, collecting rewards, collecting points during your adventure. When you get up to 8 points, the game is over, and if you get to 8 points before the other players, you are the winner of the game. So this was my review video of World of Warcraft the Adventure board game, and I've got to say this game was a nice surprise, okay, because it's a new adventure board game, and I love adventure board games. I really do. I really like these kinds of games here because they give you an adventure, a real adventure. They take you on a journey. They give you a new land to explore. They give you fights, encounters, and I really like that. My favorite game, for example, is Runebound 2nd Edition, which is another adventure board game, and I really like that game. In that game, you are pretty much doing the same things that you are doing in this game. You are going around the board, you are exploring the land of Terranoth, you are taking on challenges and quests, defeating monsters, collecting rewards and money, making your hero tougher and tougher through every successful fight that you win. But I've got to say that there's one substantial difference between this game and the 2nd edition of Runebound. And the difference is that in this game, you are just wandering around the land of Azeroth, you're wandering around the board, and you are going from spot to spot, completing your own missions, and minding your own business. You never worry about what the other players are doing, and you rarely decide to attack them, because attacking other heroes is not going to be all that useful. In the 2nd edition of Runebound, instead, there's a lot more competition. I remember, like, in one game of the second edition of Runebound, me and my dad, like, we kept attacking each other, and I killed my dad in that game like 8 times in a row, and that was insane, and that was a lot of fun. You are not doing that in this game, unfortunately. This game really feels like you got your own mission and you're minding your business. All you care about is just your missions. You want to complete them as quickly as possible to get the points and complete the game. And there's also another substantial difference between this game and the 2nd edition of Runebound. In the 2nd edition of Runebound, there's one final mission, there's one final goal that binds all the players together, and that is defeat the mighty Red Dragon. You know that the dragon is going to wake up sooner or later, and when that happens, then you gotta be prepared to fight the Red Dragon in combat and defeat them, and defeat the monster, defeat the dragon, kill him, to save the land and the people. And so all the players are trying their best, running some risks, some extra risks, defeating monsters that sometimes are stronger, to be able to, to get tougher and to be finally prepared for the final combat with the Red Dragon, with the mighty Red Dragon. Here instead, the leveling up system is very weak and very stupid. The hero gets better, but just slightly better. The stats are going to improve just slightly. and there's no real focus on combat. All the combats, all the encounters, they are pretty much the same, with the same stats. The monsters, the red monsters that are supposed to be the most powerful ones, they look pretty much the same as the monsters that you are going to defeat at the beginning of the game. So I've got to say that this game here is interesting because it's an adventure board game, okay, but it's not quite like the second edition of Runebound. There's no real journey, there's no epic journey in this game. There's no epic journey. You just feel that you are an adventurer and you have ended up in this place in the land of Azeroth, and you're just wandering the land to your own leisure, and you're just enjoying the experience. That is pretty much what you're doing, okay? And unfortunately, I got to say that if I were to compare this game to the second edition of Runebound, this game fails miserably, okay? This game wouldn't stand a chance against the second edition of Runebound, unfortunately. One final thing that I would like to say about this game really feels like a game that was created as part of the franchise. I think Fantasy Flight Games was crafty and decided to create this game based on the popularity of the video game World of Warcraft. And they just said, they probably thought these exact things that I'm going to tell you right now. Why don't we make a game, an adventure board game, based in the land of Azeroth, based on the on World of Warcraft, the video game, and then we sell it to all the fans out there so that we make some good money. And that's exactly what I think they thought. If this was part of a franchise, part of a marketing campaign, and they created this game, but unfortunately they didn't really decide to make some serious development to this game. They didn't create some end goal missions, they didn't create a quest, they didn't create a story. They just made a package full of adventures, full of monsters, and the components in this game are awesome. Component quality is great, there's nothing to say about that. But unfortunately, they didn't really care whether the game was going to be sound, interesting, exciting. And unfortunately, this game, it's not. It's not interesting, it's not exciting, it's not as fun as it is the second edition of Runebound, which is a much more solid board game, okay? Now, I'm not a fan of the video game of World of Warcraft, and I don't know anything about the video game. Maybe if you are a fan of this video game here, then you may still find this game interesting and exciting. I personally didn't find this game interesting and exciting, and neither did my dad. Actually, we got pretty bored of this game really quickly. I made a video about my first impressions on this game when I played this game with my dad the first time, and in that video I told you that this game really felt like a waste of time to both me and my dad. And I still think the same, okay? Even though there's some goodness in this game, okay? There's some goodness, the components are great. There's great component quality. The production value of this game is insane. There's some very good stuff in this game, but unfortunately the development is a bit defective, has got some serious problems. This is what I think of World of Warcraft, the adventure board game. There's one more thing that I would like to say, and I really care about it. In my here on my channel, I started with a review video for a game that was created for Lupin III, and that game also came with some awesome components, but it really felt like part of a franchise. That game was created by an Italian game designer, and it was released a few years ago, and it was clear that they created that game just to make money out of the popularity of the Japanese series. I love Lupin III, and I ended up purchasing that game because I love the series. And here I think the same. They made the same trick. They created a game for fans of World of Warcraft to sell it and make money out of it. Just like it happened with that game for Lupin III, which I have reviewed on my channel. I love the components, I love the looks of that game, the aesthetics, but the gameplay, oh god, the gameplay was broken. Just like this game here. The gameplay, unfortunately, is not compelling, it's not interesting. And the game is really boring. And this game is pretty boring, okay? So unfortunately, I'm not going to give a very high grade to this game. I'm just going to give the same grade that I gave to that other board game. I'm going to give it a 7 minus, and this is going to be the grade for this game. This was my review for World of Warcraft, the adventure board game. This game is pretty mediocre, pretty normal, pretty standard, okay? Except for the components that are exceptionally good, that are awesome. Okay, but apart from that, you're not gonna get much in this game. The replayability of this game is 0, okay, and also the level of fun in this game is pretty much equal to 0. So unfortunately, this is what I think about this game. A game that is really dull, that is really boring, that is uninteresting. And unfortunately, I'm really sorry that this is the final review for this game. I really hope that this game was going to be as good as it looks, but unfortunately this sometimes happens. You know, it happened in the past with that other game dedicated to Lupin the Third, and it happened again here with this video game, game dedicated to the video game of World of Warcraft. This is my review for World of Warcraft, the adventure board game. Thank you for watching.